I just want to speak the name of Jesus.
Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. And we saw last time that it is a treasure. The treasure is that the sense of God's presence releases us from the monumental illusion that God is somehow absent in our everyday lives. And that is a treasure. But Jesus says it's a hidden treasure. Paul says we look through a glass darkly. And this is inevitable because God is God and we are human. And so it's somewhat hidden. And finding that treasure is made even more difficult because of our fallen nature. We were created with a capacity for God, but in the fall that capacity became blunted. And so God's presence is something that requires seeking. Now we wish it didn't. We love quoting Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And I love that verse, and that verse has actually been important in my life. But we mustn't separate it from verse 13. If you seek me, you will find me, if you seek me with all your heart. Now, after all, nothing of value is achieved in this world without effort, sometimes without cost. For example, there's a child with a tremendous musical ability, but he will still have to work and practice for years and years before he can become a concert violinist. And so God is sometimes hidden, but sometimes he seems to be particularly far off and inaccessible. Now, the wonderful thing about the Bible is it doesn't cover this up, it acknowledges it. The Psalms are God's prayer book, and a third of the Psalms are lament psalms. God knows that we will experience these things, and so he gives us all these prayers so that we can grieve it and we can feel it, and even if we need to be angry with him. There's a sentence that appears 7 times in the book of Psalms. It's this: why, Lord, do you stand afar off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? It's hidden. And it's a common experience to feel this. The whole book of Job, this poor man who's lost so much, and he cries out to God, and he just doesn't get answers for 38 chapters. It's a common human experience. And Jesus experienced it on the cross. My God, why have you forsaken me? But the sense of God being inaccessible can be greatly increased by pain and particularly difficult experiences, by unanswered prayer and loss. And sometimes people suffer enormous loss. And the enormity of these experiences sometimes causes people to stop seeking altogether. It's very sad. But every now and again, you meet someone who's been through really awful experiences, and yet you sense they haven't lost the treasure. I remember once meeting a nun in a retreat center. She was terribly crippled in a wheelchair with muscular dystrophy, and yet I could see a light shining through. And I asked her the secret, and she said, I shun self-pity like the plague it is. And clearly, she had found the treasure, and I could only stand back in admiration. But notice that the farmer sold everything he had to get that treasure. And I wondered, what do I need to sell in order to get that treasure? Perhaps I need to sell the right to know answers. And so it would be wonderful this Lent if someone could make a commitment, a determination. Lord, by your grace, I won't stop believing. I won't stop trusting. I won't stop hoping. I won't stop seeking.
Unending